Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator, and I hope that your day is going well and that your week halfway. Well, this is Thursday, I think, and just want to say blessings to all of you. I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the gifts of learning, the knowledge, and the wisdom of the universe, and you continue to do those wonderful things that you do. This is one of those impromptu videos I said I was probably going to do. Here I am. but it, and the video on this one is like, don't panic. Keep your drawers on, Nellie. Now this is a little bit of Southern humor thrown into some current affairs, if you will. Hey, Dominic, how are you? Good evening. But being that I keep throwing how old I am in here, but it goes back into that I can still remember days when I was up here in South Georgia and South Alabama, and that there were houses that only had one, maybe two light bulbs. There was only two circuits. There was an outlet, and there was the light bulbs, and maybe one in the front room and one in the kitchen. And people were so pleased that they had that their electricity, they called it, and that they had at least one light bulb to get them through them dark nights when they needed to read the Bible, or when they had some friends over and got into some of that moonshine. But to have one outlet, which they didn't have any appliances back in them day to even plug into it, but nowadays, there are over 1 million people without electricity that in California. Now I want to say, keep your drawers on, Nellie, because listen, some of them folk ought to know that this stuff was coming, and if they haven't been prepared, oh my goodness, they're running around with their panties in a bunch. And and you ever try to run with a bunch in your panties? I mean, it's just really difficult to run. And so it's like, and why should you be running anyway when some of these folks need to be prepared? So some of the stuff that these folks are, and they have every right, in my opinion, to be ticked off about PG&E and all that kind of stuff. But keep your drawers on, Nellie. It's just the end of the world. No. Well, people are freaking out. They're in panic mode. And they're trying to push this panic onto the rest of us around the world. Oh my God, PG&E. It is a bad thing. I fully agree. But haven't we all been seeing this coming? And if you have, I know I've been telling folks, I don't know how you're going to get out of California, but you oughta. We've been saying it for years, for whatever reason it is. God bless California. Northern California is beautiful. I love it up there in them redwoods. But if them folk up there ain't been warned and warned and warned and warned, and if you don't take the warnings, but keep your drawers on, Nellie, because here they go through another section of this. Again, I'm not standing up that this is a good thing, but on the other side of this coin, most of the underbrush is caught fire last year and burned all the houses down. So what would they burn? What would they risk burning this year is sort of my question about that. But to the PG&E folks, hold your drawers on, Nellie. Are you letting the high wind get to you? Well, wait a minute. Didn't you burn down near all the trees last year? What's going to catch on fire this year? I'm just asking. Hey, my sky, Dominic. This is just a slightly humorous, a little bit of dry Southern humor with looking in upon this. There are lots of areas down here in the South right now we need water badly. The river is as low as I've seen it in a long time. Things are dry, but you don't see folk around here like, oh my God, we ain't had rain in a couple of months. Yeah, we're kind of used to this. Yeah, we're blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're kind of used to this. Us old timers that have been around a long time, if the power goes out or something happens, there could be a thunderstorm, a tree limb just fall over on a power line from here to Moultrie or Meigs or wherever around here, and there's going to be a lot of people without power until that gets corrected. It happens frequently. I'd be sitting here on the sitting here and the lights go out, and they'll be working on the line somewhere between here and 15 miles away. So when you live in the country, you kind of have to expect these kinds of things. And people that live up in the mountains up there, they ought to expect some of these kinds of things. Again, I'm not saying that PG&E is right, but hold your panties on, Nellie. Oh my God, everything's going wrong. Well, back in the day, an ice box was called an ice box for a reason. You had great big blocks of ice that you put in an ice box, and that kept things cold. So people freaking out. Well, why not go to wherever you need to go and buy up 200 or 300 pounds of ice and throw it in your freezer. Throw whatever is perishable, put it on ice. That's one thing. People are like, what am I going to do? Now, I agree, it's a sad situation, but people are so used to their comfort that they don't know how to act out of their comfort zone. And that's where we need to hold our panties on, Nellie, because, wait a minute, if you don't know how it used to be even 30 years ago, let alone now. And so people need to don't panic. But everybody's panicking about one thing or another. Down in Florida, there was a run on this, and somebody had a run on that, and they had a run on generators. There are people out there trying to start a generator, couldn't light a match and start a fire in their charcoal grill. I mean, but they're going to start up generators, and oh my goodness, panic, 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 panic. Hey, Supernatural, how are you? My Sky, hello. But so anyway, in this though, they're trying to spread panic. They're trying to spread that, oh my God, it is bad. It ain't right. But to the point though, hold your drawers on, Nellie. Don't get your panties in a bunch. Let's take a look at what the situation is. We should all be prepared for this, for whatever eventuality. And so, if you're going to get your knickers in a bunch over this particular thing, then what happens if something really bad does happen? So I think it's a warning to them folk, but it's not just them. For example, there's a lot of earthquakes been happening. Another one happened in middle Georgia yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. One happened in northwest Georgia up around Dalton last week. There are earthquakes happening in the weirdest places, and some of them have been 2.5, 2.7. That's a right nasty jolt for down here in Georgia, in this area. But as some of us have been sort of predicting and watching where the magma's, well, how do we watch it? But the magma's been moving underneath the United States from the west coast toward the east coast, and it's showing up. It took a little longer than I had spoke about a couple of months ago, but the energy's here. It's happening all up and down the Appalachians. North Carolina's had several earthquakes. Cherokee, North Carolina, which I used to frequent a lot, several earthquakes around there, up around Franklin, Tennessee, and in there. Cherokee, North Carolina, up around near Asheville. So there's stuff going on, but here you go. So the earth shaking, don't get your panties in a bunch. Hold on. Don't panic. The best thing we can do is be prepared. And through our community and through different communities of folk, find out who your neighbor is. You may never speak on good terms until all your lights go out or a tornado goes through the area, and then the two of you become best buds because you're both working for the same thing. That's happened many times down here in the South. It's happened in many places all over the world. Two sets of families don't get along until a big catastrophe comes along, and then all of a sudden everybody's working for the same thing. It breaks down barriers. Unfortunately, people have to see the worst in nature or whatever in order to see the best in each other. That's a strange combination there. But with that said, though, this wasn't supposed to be a long video. I want to say hi to everybody. Supernatural, it's good to see you. Con Edison, yep. I've been doing fairly well. Breaking Dawn's here in the house, dude. And she's on the chat too. Thought I'd throw that in there. It seems nobody wants to talk about the cosmic radiation. My Sky, you're absolutely right. I was looking I've talked about it on my channel. I look at Albany, Georgia, and I look at Tallahassee, Florida. Today it was like high. Well, okay, high was 8. Now, very high is 11, but it's only supposed to be 1 or 2. It's not supposed to be 7 or 8. So it's like, it's kind of high today. And no, shouldn't 7 be like very high and 11 be extremely high? Shouldn't we have like varying degrees of how high is high? I'm like, what the hell? I'm sorry if it's only supposed to be 0.5 or 1 and it's 5, isn't that like 5 times more? Isn't that kind of high? So, how they regulate and tell you what things are. But in driving around today and around town and so forth, it's really dry around here. The pine needles are falling off the tree way too early. We came by a pecan grove, and this one particular grove, all the leaves are just fried and are falling off. The wind was blowing earlier. There's leaves everywhere, and it's like that. This shouldn't be happening until the end of this month and first of November. The leaves are falling off because of the radiation. Absolutely, things are fried to the max down here, and in a lot of other places too. But to the point though, yeah, people aren't talking about it, because now if you want to talk about something to like you want to panic about, well then, hey, let's talk about this extra gamma rays. We're all going to be turning into the Incredible Hulk. I could stand a little, muscle here and there when I go paddling on the river, picking up my kayak and whatever. But I don't know about the green part. Maybe a chartreuse or something. I don't know. I don't know if I'd look good in green, but hey, that it is what it is. But I know in my previous days and drinking and alcohol and so forth, I looked very green and used to hug that porcelain god, or goddess, as the case may be. Um, but so in life, we all need to understand that these things are important. Them folks with the power outages, yes, important. The folks over here, yeah. Storms over here, yeah. Snowstorms in the Midwest and the Dakotas, yes. Should be aware of these kinds of things, yeah. But listen, we live on top of this planet, whether you think it's round or flat, we're on it, not in it. As many races have done before, they've lived inside the planet because it was too freaking weird on top of this thing. They would come out and visit and then haul ass back under the inside. But to the point though, what do we expect by living on on the planet? We're going to be subject to natural things. So in the video I did before about natural science versus, human 3D made up science, these are natural occurrences. And I'm sorry, but when we live on top of this planet, we're living in the biggest crapshoot in the universe. I mean, literally, we don't know from 1 minute to the next if, the creator is going to roll the dice and go, hey, let's see if we can wipe out, New Jersey today. Going, or it'd be a crap table or a roulette wheel, just think Las Vegas. Oh, God. But to the point, though, with that said, though, all of these things are just little tidbit frames, little drops in the grand scheme of things. And we need to contain our own energies, retain our own. Somebody, I can't remember who sent a lovely comment on one of the videos I did the last day or so. And it is so very true. You all are getting it. You folks are the angel messages back to here that I get to put back out to you. It's great. And as long as we keep from being dysfunctional, I mean, like, they're going to turn out my lights. What am I going to do? Get a flashlight. I don't know about how am I going to cook. Get a little gas stove. I don't know about my electric, get a bag of ice. I mean, come on. People in the old days knew how to just take care of stuff. It didn't bother us. Back when I visited my sister 2 weeks ago when I went down to Florida, and we were sitting around and we were talking. I was like, back in the old days, when a hurricane or a storm coming, if the lights went out, we just had candles. We had flashlights. It never phased us. And we knew not to go in the refrigerator because, and we knew we couldn't, because we had a well pump on the property at the time. And so, we knew that we could get water, but only the water that was stored in the tank. So, but we'd go out instead of trying to get it. We knew what to do. We had always had a couple of gallons of water stored somewhere. There was always a little extra canned goods. We always had some kind of a grill or something and charcoal. Before they really Coleman stoves back in them days. The Coleman stoves are still a good stove. But back in the day, a Coleman stove used to use regular gas. Yeah, get that. Pour gasoline into that little tank and pump it up. That's the reason they made them way back in the day, was so you could use gas from your car to have yourself a little gas stove thingy. Anyway, I've got one that sits in the back of my truck, and if I go anywhere, get stuck someplace, I can make coffee, and that's what's important. Now, but for other people, though, they get so freaked out and so panicked. We can send these folks our prayers, help if they need it, honestly. And I'm not trying to be rude about it. But for those folks who are like surprised about this, I'm not surprised in the least. And if you think this is going to be the first time that this happens, they've had rolling blackouts before up in New York and New Jersey. And, remember the big blackouts of, the Big Apple back when? It's happened several times. Other towns have had blackouts, rolling blackouts during certain times. This is a phenomenon. As there are more people and more devices, you can bet it's going to happen again. Please don't be surprised. And with your friends, yes, let's send them prayers, but let's not get panicked with them. Sorry, we don't need to go there. If anything, it will teach these people, be ready the next time. And if you're not, shame on you. And if you've got a way to get out of that state because of all of the above, maybe you need to head further east or something. Just saying. Another state, another county, another something. Maybe you should, maybe the reason all this is happening, now I hate to say it, but Agenda 21 and all that stuff, they're trying to move people out of there. Now, with that said, but at the same point, if somebody wanted me out of someplace bad enough where they're going to catch the whole countryside on fire, I might have to change my mind about where I'm going to live. Just saying. And the earthquakes, well, I'm going to leave it at that. Everybody should have the right to live where they want to live, even if it's at the base of an active volcano. If you want to live there, but if you get ashes to ashes and dust to dust, that's your business, and I'm not going to mourn for you because you made your choice, period. Sorry. You knew it's an active volcano. You get a rock on your head in the middle of the night. I'm sorry, I will say a prayer, but you asked for it. If you have no other choice but to live at the base of a volcano, that's a separate issue. But to the point. Anyway, people choose their own panic. They choose their own fears, and then they wish to try to portray it onto other people. Let's keep our prayers up. Let's keep ourselves positive. But remember, at all times when everybody's trying to throw panic at us, we don't panic. We look at it and go, well, okay, maybe there'll be a lot of campfires out there, instead of it being the campfire fire, then people will actually have campfires and they'll get together. Maybe it'll bring neighbors together who don't have lights, and they'll all come together with their guitars and candles and sing Kumbaya. Who knows? Or whatever the favorite folk song is nowadays. But to the point though, hey, it is what it is. Don't panic. And as much as I like to say, don't get your panties in a bunch, truly don't. It will chafe you. And now that talcum powder will give you cancer, then you can't even get rid of the chafing easily. So everything's going to kill us at one point or another. But how we choose to do it and where it takes us, that's another thing. Supernatural says, people that look into, I got to put my glasses on for that. It's moving around. I love you all. I do. Thanks for coming and hang out for this little impromptu. People that look into the grid system as a whole in this country find out just how surprisingly fragile it all is to many things. Yes, it can and should be replaced by much better energy technologies, but not yet, I guess. Breaking Dawn says, looking for paths that align with you and trust that you will be able to walk or run with confidence. Absolutely. Oh, Michelle, hi, how are you? Melanie, good to see you. I'm going back up through. Chemtrails should be the least of our worries. Yeah, in 5D. All of it, we should kind of sort of, let's put this in proper terms. If we say we should worry about this, well, that rather connotates that, oh my God, we're going to have to go take a Valium. But now if we're aware of something versus panicked or, we should always be aware of stuff. But should we worry about it? Should we be concerned? I know it's a little difference, but we should always be concerned with these idiots that claim they're working for our personal well-being or whatever. That's like a tweet on you, But to the point though, Should we worry about it? Well, if they've already sprayed it in the sky, what a, how much can I really be worried about? I should be concerned. I should be careful what I eat, drink, or whatever from whatever there, is dropping out of the sky. But I should have worried before they sprayed it. Now I should be concerned because they've already done it. Worrying about it, it puts us in another level and we get all tense and our panties get in a bunch. That's what the worry part of it is. But should we be ever vigilant and watchful? Oh, absolutely. But we can do it without putting our emotions in it to where we still stay. We were down on the river this evening. It's green as hell and low as the dickens. And it's like, yuck. Oh my God, please rain. But, it's due to all these chicken farms and stuff and all the different things that are in the water down here. And when it doesn't flow, they all start growing algae. It's horrible. Thank God it didn't smell too bad. But normally it smells like the bottom of the Dead Sea or something. Not that I've ever been to the Dead Sea. Low tide is what I meant. And if you've ever been to a mucky low tide, whew, that can smell to high heaven. But anyway, am I concerned? Yes. And do I keep an eye on it? Yes. That's one reason why we stopped by the river today was to see how low it is. And also to try to keep other people abreast of the situation, like doing a video, telling folks on Facebook, general word of mouth. Yeah, have you seen how nasty the river is? It goes a long way. I saw the river the other day. It was pretty damn nasty. When's the last time? And word gets around, especially down here in the South. People like to yap about that kind of stuff. But the thing is, though, that word of mouth, it's sort of what you and I are doing right now with things. So, yes, always be concerned. Yes, always be vigilant. But don't get our panties in a bunch, because we should understand and have enough wisdom to say, whatever's going to happen over there, I'm going to deal with it. If I'm in an area where we may have a rolling blackout, I'm going to make sure that maybe I've got some extra ice in the freezer. Maybe there's something in the freezer don't really need there. I'm going to put in some. Years ago, I bought some of those little flat package, that you freeze and then you put in your cooler. They don't take up any space and you can shove them in all kinds of spots. Well, when your freezer goes out or the electricity goes out, those same things give back what they contain. So that's what's kept my stuff in the freezer from going bad, is the freezer bags I put in there to freeze for such occasions. So if you think ahead of stuff, and a couple of them I actually put into the bottom around my milk and so forth, because last hurricane last year, we were out of power for several days. But we didn't have a warning, These folks got a warning for a couple of days. Hey, we're going to cut your power off, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I've heard of folks out there that have really kind of went panicky over this. You should have already been at least slightly prepared for this. Under any circumstance, you should not be surprised. These assholes in the government and these big companies, PG&E, the local REAs down here, they're pretty good, but they still kind of nail you to the wall one way or the other. It's their business and they have public domain, dominion over your land and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, without permission, they can come on your place and cut anywhere they want along on either side of the power line, even though they've cut down some of my shrubs, killed a couple of azalea plants, but I don't get, compensated for it because they can. We're the REA, Rural Electric Company. So anyway, every one of us has to tolerate this stupid mess, but at the same point, we can also be prepared. I bought several years ago a little 2 amp solar collector. I've got little yard lights. I'm telling you, if you don't have anything else, you can spend $5 at the dollar store for $1 yard lights, because you've got a rechargeable battery in there and you have light, and you can take them little things to walk around your house. I mean, there are things you can do that don't cost you a lot of money, but in the long run, if you understand what you can do and how you can get by without getting your panties in a bunch, there, I said it again, on purpose. But Dawn's over here laughing. Yeah. Here I go again. But, we got to laugh at some of this stuff, because otherwise we'll panic and get our stuff in a bunch, our knickers in a wad. But anyway, a cosmic wedgie, if you will. So just be prepared, my friends. And even when the crap hits the fan, it's a lot better to laugh at it than it is to cry over spilt milk. The tears just add salt to it, and it's already warm. So who cares? But I love you, my friends. I do. Be kind, be sweet, and continue the great job that you're doing. Some of you folk have sent some of the most wonderful comments. It's thought provoking, not only for me, but for other people who read it. And so I send my continued blessings out to all of you. Keep up the good work, and I sincerely mean it. This is just a little blip in time here. And I tried a little bit of Southern humor here with the panties in the wad bit. But to the point, though, just look around your own place. Make sure you've got some extra candles and some batteries and some water. It's really not hard to do. And in case something does happen, you will know that you at least have basic things prepared, and you'll sleep easier just knowing that. Honestly, you will. So I love you all. Take care. And until next time, keep it between the ditches. And as always, I end with a prayer. I continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to accept and receive the blessings, the healing, and the knowledge from the universe. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of your relations will continue to accept and receive these blessings, the healing, and the wisdom from the universe. And as the law of three, I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of your relations will continue to accept, receive, and share all of these wisdoms, the knowledge, and the healing from the universe. Keep it between the ditches, my friends. Be kind, be sweet to each other. It's just another day in paradise. We're the crazy people who decided to live on top of a planet of all things. So we should expect what we get. I love you all, I do. And thank you. Have a great evening. And until next time, TTFN.